Hi everyone, this is Karak, bringing you another review for another game, for another system. Buy, wait for sale, rent, or never touch it again. What do you think Shadowrun Hong Kong for the PC is going to rate? Because that's the game I'm reviewing today, a game of wizards, hackers, jackers, and slackers. This is a game where a 6'7" troll can be your best friend, and some lady who runs a mahjong parlor wields the power that the UN would be jealous of, and thinks nothing of pushing a bullet through someone's head because she's just too patient to use a gun to shoot it. This is the third in the line of Shadowrun games by Harebrained Schemes. Does Hong Kong throw one last punch in the triple combo to wipe out the dirty taste many gamers have had since Shadowrun 2007? That's that FPS game that FASA Studios pretended was a Shadowrun game by suffixing normal class names with the word Jack in it. Or does it trip and fall, a victim to a repetitive gaming system that can't be obfuscated by simply changing the location name and hoping people won't notice the reused assets? Let's check it out and see. And remember, this review is caffeinated, which means fixing to fly into your frontal lobes at the speed of faster than light particles. So let's get to it. The review for Shadowrun Hong Kong, another subtitle, dwarf spellcasters, feng shui battles to the death, and a dude named Strangler Boa, who is obviously a good guy. Remember to subscribe if you like the review. Here we go. Gameplay is up first. As with all sequels, Shadowrun Hong Kong has kept a stranglehold on the successes of its past titles with the tenacity of an adolescent boy with the bathroom door closed, and doesn't ever stray too far from the path, though there are some reworkings of the systems within the game, like Deckers actually, being somewhat fun to play, and Magic seeing some alignment in its overall use, and then Cyberware, which is basically like grabbing an Intel processor and shoving it into one of your body's crevices, and hoping to hell it doesn't electrocute your nuts, but instead having it somehow allow you to magically connect to various new weapon types in the game. It's all suitably cyber-like, and that makes sense for these games because, well, they're cyber-like games. Surprisingly, the changes don't have any of the same feel as, say, a Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2 world change, where suddenly every gun in the universe worked differently and it was greeted by everyone with a giant shrug. Here, the changes are mutually and maturely melted into the gameplay in a way that could fool you into thinking they were there all along, and it shows a development and synergy focus experience that many other developers do not have whatsoever. They're simply outclassed there. This is a melding of the minds here, with both specialists and jack-of-all-trades characters still being useful in the gameplay, but no one particular character class feeling either overpowered or underpowered. Indeed, any game that lets you play Hawk from the Road Warriors as a spell-flinging mage sprinting around in a business suit and occasionally sprouting Wolverine claws for those special hug moments gets points in my book. Now, a Shadowrun game always hinges on its story, and the story here revolves around your return to Hong Kong as your long-lost father figure requests your return to help him in some shadowy endeavor. But Shadowrun's always been like that presidential election where you're instantly neck-deep in a cesspool of lies, questionable figures, and human debris, and it's your job as the proverbial chosen one to fix shit no one else can because, well, reasons. And that's fine. The story plays out unlike the prior games, however, and that is to say, it is doled out at an absolutely glacial pace. And many gamers are going to find that those side missions and discussions and interactivity you can have with the group and the world will basically just dry up well before the game is even close to over. In fact, many times before you're halfway through. Characters you party with, and by party with I of course mean traverse the land performing all manner of illegal jobs within it, they're enjoyable to learn about, if a bit overly simplistic in their presentations. But it's the NPCs that take the cake, with the wheelchair-bound, maniacally laughing all the time medic that works on you with the same unwashed hands he puts together V8 engines with, to soup-drinking rats. The game doesn't pull punches in the oddity department, and the story is much better because of that. Lastly, there's a virtual smorgasbord of quests here, from your typical smash and grab to chasing bad guys to discovering who must have had an issue with being sold Watchtower magazine because they're cutting up town elders with such gusto there must be a race to see who can test out all their new Ginsu knives the quickest. Even so, everything feels ultimately familiar. It's about the same kinds of characters doing the same things with many of the same problems, but a few new tools and tricks at their disposal. In the end, a perfect description for a sequel. However, one thing that has been improved is the UI. I just like it better. It's more streamlined, it makes more sense, and ultimately functions as a better go-between of your desires and the character's actions. There are still a few wonky problems that exist in Shadowrun Town, though, like buying things at shops for other characters being atrociously cumbersome, like trying to translate rock paintings into astrophysics. And there's things like trying to cast healing spells on another character. You click on their face, nothing happens. You click on the ground, nothing happens. You end up casting it on yourself 3 times on accident like you're some kind of healing masturbationist. Still, in the end, you work through those problems and everything else just sort of works. Graphics. This is what a poor person at a strip club must feel like, because no doubt Shadowrun HK is the best looking of the bunch, with various oil-painted looking locations and incredibly detailed scenes that sadly scream for an interactivity that is absolutely not there. This can result in you clicking around locations like a damn treasure hunt, $20 bills making it rain being replaced by the mad clickety-click of your mouse's left button breaking off. Rooms are filled to the brim with interesting looking characters that just sit there, interestingly, doing nothing. They don't talk or move or almost anything, resulting in an incredibly pretty still picture, unlike other games like the older Baldur's Gate series and some titles even coming out now, at the very least with characters moving around you. It just doesn't happen here. Now, animations during battles and other actions when you're actually moving look good, though they still have the funky high-need run for some of the characters, making it look like they're running through the battlefield screaming, "Don't step in the troll shit," the entire time. At times it can look hilarious, but at no time does the game look bad. It knows its aesthetic and it aptly appreciates its atmosphere at the same time, to a point where you simply want more, not because it's lacking, though in places it is, but because they created such an interesting and beautiful place, and it's a shame you can't experience those areas in more deeper detail. Here's the thing, other than a few games I can think of like Mass Effect, Shadowrun has a lore that's both deep and wide, but also mind-shatteringly interesting, so when you walk into a noodle shop or a mahjong parlor, you sort of want to see people slurping noodles or chopping fingers off due to lost bets. I wore 3 years off the mouse wheel trying to zoom in farther and farther because the game begs to be seen and experienced up close. These are not negatives, far from it. They are desires met out by an amazing looking location that you want to actually experience up close. In the end, it's very good, but I yearn for a Shadowrun where I can get down into that deeper detail. And that of course brings us to sound, music, and voice.
But I need your help. Remember the day I took you and Duncan off the streets? I told you that the past is just a story, that if you can just accept that, your past loses more.
Now, the sound is excellent, with spells sizzling, machine guns popping, enemies freezing, and grenades making large, greasy, questionable messes of enemies. If I could have asked for anything more, I would have loved a bit more low-end grunt to some of the weapons, with many of the assault rifles sounding a bit more like a crossbow shooting at Legolas speed, rather than an AK-47 rattling off brassy death into the faces of foes. I'd go so far as to say the sound is good, and sometimes it's just okay. Music. Phenomenal. It's both locationally logistical, but it's also fairly eclectic in its offerings. I mean, don't expect to hear a bunch of didgeridoos or some shit, but I was surprised to hear mixes of various unrelated instruments that dynamically adjusted to the environment in my straight damnedest attempts to destroy the environment at all times. I loved it. Really good dynamic music. Perfect mix. Voice. Listen, there's very little here, and the game suffers for it, as the game is a reader with massive reams of text to read through that would have been amazing to hear spoken by actors. The game would have also cost Scrooge McDuck levels of cash to have had that done so. You could have paid actors by the paragraph, and a small nation would have still needed to bankroll the damn thing. What was there was okay. It's just one of those situations where there's a lot of good writing, and maybe it's a little bit detective noir style and a little bit thick in its prose, but it's really good, and I wish we could hear it spoken. Fun factor. I enjoyed the hell out of it, and there is a long game here for people to play. Listen, there were times when I fumble-flopped through locations, clicking on every goddamn thing, hoping I could get this still painting to respect the fact that my Dwarven mage was as badass as he thought and I acted him out like. And sure, sometimes a battle or two seemed oddly convenient to stretch the time frame of the game, but what is there is good fun. Its story could have been delivered at a far quicker pace, and its missions could have been adjusted to better filter the player through the world in a more interesting experience, but they set out to make a Shadowrun game, a third one in fact, and they did just that. The tit-for-tat gameplay, which is an extension of every human's risk versus reward mentality since evolution began, plays out to excellent effect here, with chances taken and rewarded or punished if failed. Here's the thing, regardless of the media, there are sequels that try too hard to pretend that everything is different. Hi, new Ghostbusters movie, now with more nothing in common with the original, and then there are sequels that excel and stretch the gameplay elements by enveloping the character in more gameplay or fiction that's enjoyable, and that's this game. There's a level of fear overriding and some sequel creation that results in developers not wanting to basically just improve, but want to throw new shit in, and sometimes that doesn't work. This is a game where almost everything works that they've added, and even the stuff that doesn't necessarily work still is better than the titles before it. So I rate games on a buy, wait for sale, rent, or never talk about it again, or touch it again rating scale. Frankly, this is a buy. The price is good. The length is incredibly long. The gameplay is exactly what you would expect from one of these games, and though it has some of the same minuses and negatives that the prior games had, in the end, it's still an awesome game. So I hope you liked the review. If you did, hit thumbs up. If you didn't, hit thumbs down as always, and remember to subscribe. Peace out.